Hi everyone. I'm very sorry to tell you that today's video is quite a sad one, and it's with a very broken heart that I tell you that our sweet and most loved pumpkin was euthanized on Monday. Although I knew the gravity of her condition when we first rescued her, this came as a bit of a shock because after her eye surgery and after the farrier visits, she seemed to rebound really well and was even trotting around in her pasture. A couple days ago, I woke up in the morning and I came out to the barn to feed everyone like normal, and I just knew. My stomach sank. I knew that this was very grave, and as I began to inspect her more closely and try to understand what was going on, I had a pretty good idea that she had foundered profoundly. When I went out into the field, she was laying down, and she does like to lay down to sleep, but every time I come in the field, she hops up, and she is a very affectionate horse who enjoys physical touch, and she likes to boop you on the face and blow her breath in your face, and when you take a step back, she stays right on top of you. She loves to put her head over your shoulder when you're in the field, and she just wasn't able to do any of that. When she was able to rise, I saw that she had a very sudden onset limp, and that's kind of when I knew that this was laminitis. It's also called foundering. I'm going to make a whole completely separate video on what foundering is and what it looks like, and in that video I'm going to talk about knowing when it is time to end your animal's suffering, because as I was on the internet just trying to research what our options were and trying to understand if this was at all something that could be treated or if this was past the point of no return, I found it difficult to find pictures or videos to compare her condition to. We do not have a vet in our area that is taking new clients. There's a massive shortage of large animal vets. There is an older generation that is now retiring, and there's just not enough young people going to vet school to fill in that gap. One thing that I'm learning is that large animal vets make 3 times less than a small animal vet will. The hours are long. The job is physically laborious and demanding. Animal owners can be extremely difficult to work with because a lot of large animal owners let their animal's condition go so long, and then they get mad at the vet when they can't fix it, and that takes its emotional toll. In fact, the suicide rate for veterinarians is just rising astronomically. If you have seen a vet with a profile picture that looks like this, that is to bring attention to the growing concern for the mental health of our animals' doctors. Thankfully, we had a previous veterinarian when she was boarding in Stanley that was willing to make the 40-minute drive out to us and give Pumpkin a dignified death. I always knew that this was a possibility because we adopted an animal from a rescue lot. It was like playing Russian roulette. I just know that somebody's going to ask, like, why did you go this route? Why did you choose such a damaged horse? I came to this farm to find peace and healing, and yet I invited a whole new kind of grief into my life. And I guess the simple answer is that I think I wanted more than a horse. I am deeply acquainted with grief and loss, but I am just as familiar with rescue. There is something almost divine about a rescue story. It's bigger than all of us. It's not self-serving. And although her time with us was extremely short, there are eternal rewards that come from a life that wants to seek mercy, do justice, and walk humbly with our God. I can hear it now, and I just know people are going to say something derogatory like, well, you asked for this, or you kind of did this to yourself, or couldn't you have chosen a healthier one? Coincidentally, those same things have been said to us about our adopted children. Because of my experience being plucked out of foster care when I was 10 years old, rescuing animals and seeing them loved and happy is like watching my own story play out in front of my eyes. I have decided what I will do with my one precious and short life. I will love my neighbor as myself, and I will adore and nurture his creation to the best of my ability. I think we need to be careful assigning value to things based on the time that they serve us. As a gardener, I am totally obsessed with annuals. These plants have one season to live, and they go for broke, and they are the stars of the show in my garden. And there's cost involved with repeating this process each year, and a lot of gardeners opt out of annuals because of the labor involved in it. Pumpkin was my field of sunflowers. She came to me in the autumn of her life, and although the blooms did not last long, they absolutely take my breath away. I am one of those people that firmly believes that every child deserves a home and a family, and that every animal deserves dignity. So thank you for your encouragement and your love, and thank you for loving Pumpkin as much as we did. Stay tuned for some future videos. We do need to go on a hunt for a companion for our very sweet donkey. Donkeys don't do well living alone, and he and Pumpkin were very bonded. In fact, he has been very restless and continues to trot around the pasture looking for her. So hopefully we find the perfect pasture mate for him that brings him some comfort and companionship. That's all for today's video. Thanks.